big government.
Well, Chris Matthews is a huge small government guy. He's been all over that for a while.
He's kept that fairly quiet.
Oh, yeah.
But
really quiet.
Yeah, he's really good at keeping that quiet. That's amazing. In light of what he has said in the past, which are things like this.
We've made a real effort to show the face of the Tea Party. All the placards up there, the sort of Hitler mustaches, the black face, if you will, superimposed on the face of Barack Obama. These obvious racial canards that keep popping up. Is it sort of a resumption of the old South, of the way things were before the Civil War, for example?
Okay, we got some other thing threaded through that. But he's talking about how racist the Tea Party is. And he goes on and on. This is a montage of clips where he is babbling about how bad the Tea Party is. And then last night, he's all over defending the Tea Party. What is he doing?
He's insane.
He is.
The premise of the question, and MSNBC, by the way, dead last in how much they're trusted as far as a news organization.
Oh, that's right.
I have this chart right in front of me, and I just put it down. But they finished. Not only, of course, they finished dead last among conservatives. People are not going to trust MSNBC, but they finished dead last overall. And in fact, Fox News is trusted by almost the identical amount of liberals as MSNBC is. That's how bad MSNBC is. Liberals will actually trust Fox News at about the exact same rate as they do MSNBC. So it's a long history. But Ronan Farrow, who, as we know, look, the guy is an award-winning journalist.
Yes.
He's done about 12 shows, and only 8 people have seen all 12 shows. If you combine the entire audience for all 12 shows, 8 people have seen him. But all 8 people happen to be voters on the panel that gave him the award for journalism. But his point leading into that question to Chris Matthews was Dave Brat is a professor. Apparently, his Democratic opponent is also a professor at the same school, and his opponent has a higher rate my professor score. So, obviously, that means you should vote for him. Like, what? Did you say? I mean, so maybe that's the reaction. It's just such a dumb lead-in that Chris Matthews couldn't help himself to fight against it. But, I mean, that's never stopped him before.
No,
usually he's the one providing the dumb lead-in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the absolutely asinine point about the Tea Party being racist or hate mongers, or that's all they're about, that's all they ever do, that's all they care about. And since when does he give conservatives any credit for actually having values and an ideological point of view? And when people go askew of that, then we're upset with it. And that's what he was doing there. He was giving conservatives credit for, being tired of the government doing stupid things.
And of course, if you look at the leading question, which was incredibly stupid by Ronan Farrow, but much less idiotic, much less offensive to me than the things Chris Matthews has said in the past, like, for example, identifying the face of the Tea Party as a bunch of placards with Hitler mustaches and blackface.
Yeah.
I mean, that's way more offensive and not even remotely close to true. Ronan Farrow, stupid point. But to get upset about that after the stuff Chris Matthews has said is really weird.
Yeah, again, it's things like this.
We made a real effort to show the face of the Tea Party. All the placards up there, the sort of Hitler mustaches, the black face, if you will, superimposed on the face of Barack Obama. These obvious racial canards that keep popping up. Is it sort of a resumption of the old South, of the way things were before the Civil War, for example? When you get, is it like that old dreamy nostalgia you get in the old movies, you know what I mean?
No.
Going with the Wind. Is it that kind of America they want to bring back, or what? Where there were no gays, where blacks were slaves, where the Mexicans were in Mexico. I mean, is this what they want? They do seem to be integrally involved in the cultural right and a lot of xenophobia, a lot of we don't want anybody else coming to this country. The Tea Party Republicans rejected a consensus. They deserve the whack they're now getting in the polls. 9% of the country approves of the job Congress is doing. Got it, Mr. and Mrs. Tea Party? Do they still count blacks as three-fifths of a vote? Is that the way they count it? Is that the way they count it?
I mean, listen to that litany of nonsense. Yeah. And then you compare it to what he said last night, it's inconceivable.
Yeah, how can it be the same person? And that's probably, when you try to sit here and analyze the thought processes of a Chris Matthews, you're going to have your head's going to hurt. But think of what a dumb series of points that is. You have first of all, there's the blatant just accusations of racism, wanting there to be no gays, wanting there to be. I mean, what? And then you get to the point of, well, I hope the Tea Party is understanding and getting the whacking they're getting in these polls. Only 9% of people approve of Congress. The Tea Party exists solely because of that number. That's why there is a Tea Party. If 50% of people agreed with Congress, there wouldn't have been a Tea Party in the first place. The reason why there's a Tea Party is because no one liked Congress, and because there's been a few members who have been elected. You can't give responsibility to the last 100 years of problems to a group that was invented in 2010. It's such a stupid series of points. You wonder how this guy has been on television for this long.
Thank you. Yes. How does he have a job?
I don't know.
That's the real conspiracy here that conspiracy theorists need to be looking into.
Yeah.